But what we didn't know was Bill Cruduck's pumpkin patch secretly stashed all the money that he had stolen. He had used the character The Shape to scare away people from finding out the truths behind what was going on. Here's your look at the new NECA toys. This is the Toony Terrors Halloween 2, Michael Myers. Bring the fun of Saturday morning cartoons to your horror collection with these adorable little creeps. Pick your favorites or collect them all and make every day Toony Terror time. I suspect how we're going to start off this review is the same way we start off every review, by first figuring out how tall said figure is. In this case, Michael Myers, according to the Ultra Measure 5000, and according to the trusted readout on the front, I can tell you and provide to you the service to members of the mob that the figure stands 6.1 inches in height. That's not bad. That's not bad. 15.5 or 15.5 centimeters tall is the new Toony Terrors Michael Myers. Size comparisons certainly could come in handy. Here we go. We're going to bring in some of the other Toony Terrors that we already had a look at. This was the 2017 It, Pennywise the Clown. This was Jason Voorhees. Really like the look of that one. And also we have Freddy Krueger. Yeah, I know. We're missing the TV series. Tim Curry, Pennywise, where's that? I couldn't find it. I don't know where it went. It's somewhere. Leave it with me. It's somewhere. I guess you'll have to leave it with me. Either way, though, here are some of the other Toony Terrors that we've had a look at thus far. Ironically enough, though, the ones that we are looking at, the ones I feel best suit the moniker of Toony Terrors. The Pennywise, the Toony Terror Pennywise, Tim Curry Pennywise, I feel, again, just didn't sit well with the rest of these. Although other ones here look like they were ones taken from a Scooby-Doo cartoon, that other one, maybe not as much. So ironically enough, these are the ones that we currently are looking at, so you can see all the differences between them. Yeah, they do feel like they could all inhabit the same Scooby-Doo universe. Let's have a look at the figure's accessories. The first thing we'll have a look at is the Halloween 2 inspired pumpkin. Interesting in the fact that it's not actually the pumpkin separating itself like in the opening credits to reveal the skull inside. It actually kind of looks like it's a demonically possessed pumpkin instead. I kind of like that. I almost feel like the pumpkin would be talking itself. Perhaps Scooby and the gang would be coming across this pumpkin, and this pumpkin would warn them, "Don't enter into the pumpkin patch. Beware, beware," the pumpkin would say, scaring off, of course, the gang until they realize later it was just a hologram. Oh, Mr. Craddock, you and your shenanigans. That's what we're going to call them, shenanigans. Ironically enough, though, I mean, if you really remove this pumpkin and you remove the fact that the title on the front of the packaging says Halloween 2, there's so much of this Michael Myers feels more rooted in the first Halloween film than it actually does of the second. But the pumpkin is really nicely done. Holograms, Mr. Craddock. The other thing he does come included with is the knife. This butcher knife shares a similar style of reflection as the other figures that we've had a look at. Case in point, we'll bring in Jason Voorhees. Not quite that you could line up the reflection, but you can definitely see how one would be a copy to the other. I really like that there's like consistency happening across the board. That if you're going to do one, let's do it for all of them, actually. And it's really neat the fact that he would come included with the knife. Now, you can put it into his hand. He only really has one afforded hand to do this, and it would go into this hand here. The other hand is just relaxed. It's either for spooky walking, or if you just want to have the hand draped relaxed, you can certainly pull that off as well. And just in case you are wondering, you can put the knife this way. Or, come on, let's come to our senses here. Or you can also put the knife this way, which is usually what I would consider Michael Myers to be wielding the knife as. The knife looks quite good, I have to admit, in his hands, and probably, again, how I'm going to display the figure. If you are just going to remove the knife altogether, let's just say for the sake of argument we do that, you could put the arm just straight down, but it kind of looks like he's holding up resentment towards something. Perhaps the fact that all the tourists and the gang are coming across this pumpkin patch. Stay away, he's thinking to himself. How are they? I hope they're not going to find my stolen cash deep rooted underneath the roots of the pumpkins. I'm sure that will work out quite well. The other thing that the figure comes included with, as with all the other Toony Terrors, let's get him to stand just quickly for a second. He also does come included with this. Now, I didn't take the time this go around to cut this all out, but I just want to show you that it does come with the cardboard backdrop display. Simply just taking a pair of scissors, you don't have to really necessarily make that noise. Cut it all the way around, and you've got yourself a little unperforated, now removed from the card backdrop that you can put behind Michael Myers. The thing about it, though, is it still doesn't have the means to stand by itself. If they, again, had only included like a little circular black disc, it doesn't have to be black necessarily, and then a half circle on the top with a slit in the top, you could probably already understand where I'm going with that description. You could most definitely just put that cardboard backdrop in there, and it would be enough to hold it behind Michael Myers. In the meantime, I suppose you could tape it against the wall, or simply just have it leaning against Myers. I'm sure that would be enough as well. But he does come included with that. Just a nice little backdrop. Looks very much like you would pull it from an old Hanna-Barbera cartoon. And then again, you can just display it behind Michael Myers. Okay, so we'll move that out of the way as well. Having a look at the figure itself, again, I want to go back to one notion I had already kind of mentioned, and that's the fact that if you had taken away Halloween 2 from the packaging, very specific to the fact that they had to put Halloween 2 in the packaging there, and for the fact that he did have the skull front pumpkin, other than that, you could really look at this and think that this is Halloween 1 Michael Myers. I mean, right down to the fact that his mask seems to fit appropriately, and his hair doesn't seem like it's too aged. Some of the telltale signs of the Dick Warlock Michael Myers. The boiler is blue. I know that, of course, the debated topic is what color is Michael Myers blue. And since actually having some discussion about that with some of the viewers like yourselves, have come to the decision that I wasn't wrong the first time around calling the boiler blue. Through the discoloration and the recolorization of some of the recent released Halloween 1 films to various different mediums, the distortion of color ended up causing the boiler to look slightly a little bit more green, where the actual true color is blue, like what you're currently seeing right here. A topic for something, of course, we can discuss later on. The face sculpt is actually quite good. It's just enough there that you get the read that it's Michael Myers. It's just enough there as well that looking at it, it does look like a cartoon version of Michael Myers, and I really like that. I don't know why I love this so much, but one little section where his cheek is highlighted here in a darker coloring, I just love the fact that that's there, and it's not on the other side. Like the details would change depending on the way the light's hitting it. You can't see his eyes, which is good. The socket sections where I guess his eyes would be slightly more recessed from the rest of his face, and it's been done in a pitch black. You can't see his eyes, they're pitch black, and I really do like that quite a bit. The face sculpt is so good, and I also like the sculpting of the hair. It doesn't have quite the trademark Michael Myers curls on either side, but I'm certainly going to surrender that idea just for the idea that we have such a cool looking figure represented here under the banner of Toony Terrors. Really can't love this one. I like the other ones, don't get me wrong, and the first 4 that we had a look at. I think my favorite is probably still Jason Voorhees. A strong contender could potentially be this one right here because, like I said, it's done so well. Kind of wish this could have been the first wave of figures, but I guess all things come for those who wait, and I'm glad I actually did wait to get a Series 2 Toony Terrors, which I'm sure the inevitable, it was going to happen. We were going to get ourselves a Michael, and I have to say, in Toony Terrors form, it does look really good. So looking at the boiler, he does have the slightly discolored shirt underneath here in blue, kind of a precursor, I think, a bit to the 2018 Halloween, where he has a blue undershirt, if memory serves me correctly. Natural bunching around the waist section. No, doesn't seem to be any articulation that I can see, at least, but I do like the fact that it does look like it's kind of pushed in and tight around the waist section. They've left off the need to add additional shading to this, which works well for the figure. Doesn't have to feel the need to add some additional panel lining there as well, as it would be with the original cartoon model if this was to exist in the Scooby-Doo world. You can't imagine that there would be a lot of additional details added, so NECA kind of toned it back, and I really like that. As I said, you do have the closed fist in the one hand to hold his knife. On the other hand, literally on the other hand, he has just a relaxed palm. Now you can see as well, they've sculpted in the fingernails. I like that quite a bit. Natural seam lines running down the legs, natural draping to where pants would drape against the legs. And then you've got a pair of rather comfortable looking shoes. I can't imagine Michael Myers would be sporting such expensive looking shoes, but they kind of look like they are quite fancy loafers. Get a load of Michael Myers fancy loafers. On the underside, he does have peg holes on the underside of his feet. So I guess if you wanted to, it's almost like I planned this, you could make use of a clear display stand and just attach him in place like that. And like I did with Jason Voorhees, if I can just get him slightly in a more walking pose. There we go. There we go. You can have Michael Myers walking. Not something you could easily pull off without the stand, mind you, because one stable foot doesn't seem to add up as much to two stable feeding. So of course the figure would fall over a little bit. Let's have a look at Michael Myers' articulation. We'll take this off post-haste. And just one quick turnaround once again for the figure. I also like this collar right here. It's a nice offset to the fact that he's got the line cheekbone highlighted on the other. I like that it's not symmetrical, the collar, that is. I guess really for that matter, the face isn't symmetrical either. Yeah. Okay, so let's have a look at his articulation. The head rotates all the way around from what seems to be a ball joint. The fact that it also hinges up and down and slightly rocks back and forth also reinstates the fact that this could very well be a ball joint. The arms rotate all the way around. That would be the case on both sides. Kind of actually looks like he's ready to slick back his hair. Potentially, we could have replaced the knife altogether with a comb, and it could have looked like Michael Myers was getting ready for a date. Maybe Tina. I don't know. Combing back the hair. He does have articulation on both hands. So I guess it kind of looks like he could be driving as well. And he does have also articulation right here. It almost does seem like, based on the way that this line is cut in, that there's articulation happening in the waist. That would be a no-go. There's no articulation to speak of right there. But his legs do hinge back and forth. Articulation in the feet, no dice. No dice, but still a good-looking figure. Might potentially even say, even though we did wait up to Series 2 to eventually get this guy, this could potentially be one of my favorite Toony Terrors that we've looked at thus far. This is going to be quite the robust wave. Quite the robust wave, if I can say that, of figures that we're going to be getting slated for this wave. We're getting ourselves the Leatherface, and we're getting ourselves Pinhead. I think as well, Chucky and Tiffany are slated for this second wave as well, or they're going to be kind of a standalone release, but kind of like in between the waves. Up to this point, I think I've set the bar relatively high for the fact that we're looking at Michael Myers first and foremost, although it's no slouch to say that perhaps Leatherface and Pinhead might also be equally good. But I think my biased votes, I would say potentially, Michael Myers might be the best of the bunch. The epilogue, by the way, to Bill Cruduck and his stashing of cash underneath the pumpkin patch. He was arrested. He was arrested by apparently the only police officer who happened to be also a sheriff in the small town, sporting also a very large mustache. The sheriff was, not Bill Cruduck. He would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those kids and their mangy mutts, but we know the story already up to this point. What we don't know, though, is up to the point of this release of this figure that I would love this so much. Well, I guess that isn't necessarily true. I knew I was going to like the Michael Myers, and physically getting it in hand, I have to admit, reinstating that initial opinion, I really quite like this one quite a bit. The giving us of the pumpkin sort of feels like a throw-in for the fact that they couldn't use Halloween 1 Michael Myers. Clearly looking at this, I feel like I'm looking at Michael Myers 1, and I'm wondering if NECA Toys deliberately tried to give us a Halloween 1 Myers and simply just branded it under Halloween 2. Because of licensing and for the fact that they couldn't use Halloween 1 Michael Myers just yet. That does look a lot like Halloween 1 Michael Myers, but I digress. The Curse Stay Away pumpkin head certainly is a nice touch, and the inclusion of the reflective knife also adds to the fact that this could feel like a character that would have inhabited the world of Hanna-Barbera. Again, a big thank you, by the way, a big thank you to the folks over at NECA Toys who were nice enough to send this my way. Today we were having a look at the new Toony Terrors Halloween 2 Michael Myers. Love to see some future Michael Myers get released under the Toony Terrors brand. We will see, of course. Sort of up to this point, we know that NECA Toys can handle Halloween 2. And they can handle Halloween 2018 Michael Myers. You never know, we might even get ourselves a 2018 Michael Myers in a Toony Terrors format. Ooh, that's pretty exciting. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section of the new Toony Terrors Michael Myers. Pretty cool, isn't he? Also like the inclusion of the Get Out, Stay Out, Get Away, Cursed Pumpkin. It was just a hologram. Mr. Cruduck, you and your holographic abilities for having such little budget to spare and living in such a small town. Apparently he could afford holograms. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, members of the mob. Make sure as well you swing on now over to the bell notification and make sure you turn that on and stay tuned, gosh darn it, because there's going to be some reviews coming your way of other Toony Terror figures. That sounds exciting, doesn't it? As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.